I was just at an event the other day with a bunch of designers, and they said, when we finish our workplaces, we usually have to take pictures within 10 days of it getting finished because otherwise the employees mess it up. It's for the employees. What do you mean the employees mess it up? You have to you're designing the workplace for them. It's not an independent entity unto itself. Human experience is at the bedrock of everything that we do. The conversation with clients has shifted from saying, these are the angles, this is the kind of light fixture, these are the kind of materials, to actually saying, here's how the people will feel as they walk through the space, here's the feeling of volume, or here's the sense of community, here's where you can interact, that's what they're more interested in. The idea of employees being customers started from the idea that you wanted to attract and retain the best talent. You needed to be innovative to be ahead of the game. In India, people are realizing that they need to do the same thing but for slightly different reasons. A lot of, let's talk about the swathe of where workplace projects are, is the service industry, right? So it be either tech or financial services or whatever, it's services. Now in services, especially in India right now, a lot of the work or a lot of the workspace that happens is for teams that are slightly more back-end. It isn't as front-end, right? So what that means is employees are the biggest users of a space. You don't get many visitors. You do get some, but they're not, big front-end focus. So because of that, then suddenly you start to realize, you've built this grand reception and no one really uses it because, there are very few visitors who are actually coming in. But then there are these swathes of employees who are actually coming in, they get parked in a basement, they walk through a dingy, walkway through, they have this dingy experience as they walk through basements, get to a lift lobby and then directly go up to their floor. So then, as we talk to clients, they're like, you're right. We have thousands of employees who do the basement walk in, the lobby up. And we have 50 visitors for whom we've built this, monument of a reception. That's the wrong way around. All of it's just common sense. It's not really, it's not really a lot of rocket science, but having that conversation with clients does help. That's our job, right? The client's job is to make sure that he is able to, especially the real estate guys, they have crazy pressures on, deadlines, quality, budgets. They're answerable to their businesses. They have all of this thing. It's agencies like us who have to come in and actually add that value for them, for sure, because you can't expect them to do everything. One was a project in Hyderabad for about 5,000 people. This was a pharma company. It was again for support service employees, and this is exactly what happened. We had to tell them that, look, the bulk of your people is actually coming in from the back where you have nothing and your front atrium is completely empty. So we actually had to fashion out a complete experience for the employees where all the employees from the different basements would come to a podium level where there were amenities. So they had that, experience of community there. From there, they would actually go to a much nicer entrance that was designed again for them. The creche was on one side, there was a coffee point on the other. You could pick up a coffee and then you would walk into your lift lobby and go up to the floor. So there was this whole experience that we had to curate for them, work with the developer, make changes to, the circulation within the building itself to do that. Knowing a philosophy and knowing how it applies on ground are two very different things. So, for example, everyone knows to talk about, say, agile work environments or activity-based working or, unassigned seating, and they use them all interchangeably. They're not the same. So, and what does that mean in terms of actual space design? You'll say you want an activity-based working, you'll say that that's what we want to design, but then you end up with these swathes of about 300, 400 workstations with some amount of collabs thrown in on all the sides. That's not what it means. Understanding how that, how that solutions out for each of the clients in terms of how they work is very important. So, activity-based working implies that it's basically an apartment model. An apartment model is that you're not assigned to any one room within an apartment. You do different things at different points within an apartment, right? Different points of the day, and you share that apartment with the family. It's the same concept. So you have to actually create neighborhoods. You have to create neighborhoods which are smaller units within that larger workplace, where you are then decentralizing some of the, say, smaller collab areas, some of the focus areas to form these neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods can vary, say, from between 30 to even 60, 70, tops probably 60, 70 in size. But then you start forming these neighborhoods as your basic building block. You centralize some of your amenities. And that's how you're actually supposed to do it. So you don't end up with a large swathe of workstations and then you say it's actually activity-based working. Now within that set, within that neighborhood is where you then start assigning people. You don't assign them to a desk, but you say this is your workspace. Use it as you will. Behavior and experience are the link between the aesthetics of space and how we look at space and space design and the final output that we want. So, I mean, how do we connect to the human, right? How the confluence of psychology and design and how you can intentionally communicate through the design of your space to a user. So, for example, I mean, simple examples are examples of colonnades, right? If you have two colonnades on either side, that's an indication of a corridor. Right. As we walk through, we don't realize, as we walk through space, we instinctively pick up a lot of things about space, and we take our cues from behavior on how spaces are configured. And so it's very important that we are, as designers, are extremely cognizant of that. Because, otherwise you'll make a pretty picture, but no one will ever use it the way it's meant to be used. And that's the ultimate aim of space, right? The reason behavior becomes very important in that, and us as designers are really responsible for that, is actually, I think it was a Dylan song that said, people rarely do what they believe in, they do what's convenient and then they repent. So a big part of us as designers, if we really want to do good, is to help people do the things that they intend to do by making it easier for them to do that, by making it more, making it more convenient for them to do that, by reminding them that that's what they should do.